All right, YouTube, what is going on? It is Zaya here from Zaya&TheSteelers back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the state of the AFC North and the Steelers as we approach the trade deadline. So if you guys are Steelers fans or you enjoy NFL content in general, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We are on the road to 2,000 subscribers. Shout out to the people who have subscribed already. And shout out to the future subscribers, man. Also, let's get a shout out to the members. If you guys would like to support me and this channel more, be sure to hit that join button down in the description below. And we got it up on the AFC North standings. This is the whole NFL standings in general, but of course we're locking into the AFC North because there is one team at the bottom of the AFC North that I think we have to highlight. And of course you guys can't see it because I am just a silly goose. Let me go ahead and zoom this the F out. Ladies and gentlemen, the Cleveland Browns are 2-7, man. They're like, what a dumpster fire they are. And the only reason why I'm going this hard is because if you guys don't remember the beginning of the season, if you guys don't remember the preseason, if you guys don't remember the offseason, and honestly, every offseason for the past like 2 to 3 to 4 seasons, ever since they had that one little playoff run, the Cleveland Browns fans have been talking a lot of shit. They've been acting like they've run the AFC, they've run the AFC North, they've run football for a while. And low-key, they haven't run anything besides the first top 5 picks of the NFL draft every single season. And it's looking like they're going to be back-to-back champions of the first top 5 picks in the NFL draft because they are horrible. And I get it. They've had a bunch of injuries. Nick Chubb came back later in the season. Deshaun Watson went out. Jameis Winston is in there. And we like Jameis Winston over here. I guess because he's a Cleveland Brown, you got to take it with a grain of salt or whatever. But they're just horrible. And like because of how much shit that they talked, I always have to highlight it here. They're just a bad organization. And honestly, with the trade deadline approaching, we just talked about it. With that approaching, they should start selling, man. Like they have Myles Garrett on the team for what? They have David Njoku on the team for what? You know what I'm saying? Like they have Nick Chubb back. They should trade Nick Chubb, honestly. And I'm being so for real. Cleveland Browns, if I was using you in a Madden franchise right now, I would be selling the entire team for every draft pick possible because, it's just over. Like Deshaun Watson is still on your books. You're going to have to do something about that contract. And until you do, you're not going to really have the funds to really move shit around. You have him and Myles Garrett. Like that's like what, 70% of the cap space. They're not going to be able to do much with that. And it's just bad over there in Cleveland. If we look above them, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at 4-5. Honestly, they've been kind of rattling things back. I think they won last week against they won yesterday against the Raiders, I believe. Yeah, I think it was the Raiders that they beat. They started off the season kind of slow. They're kind of getting back to it with 4 wins. But right now, the AFC North runs, and this is typical. This is very fucking typical. This is another reason why I'm highlighting this. Because every year, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Baltimore Ravens with a sprinkle, a dash of maybe the Cincinnati Bengals. But most of the time, it is just a dash. And that one season, they went to the Super Bowl. It is the Ohio teams make a living off of one-season runs, man. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers and Baltimore Ravens, we have been consistent year in and year out for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We have been consistently all right. We have been consistently the top dogs in the AFC North. But the Bengals fuck around and win the division once, and they go to the Super Bowl once, and all of a sudden they should be respected and held highly for the next 10 to 20 years. And it's like, man, have you guys seen your history? Have you guys watched the Cincinnati Bengals other than that one year? It typically looks exactly like this, 4-5. Same thing with Cleveland. You guys won a playoff game. You fucked around and almost beat the Chiefs that year. But now it's you're back to 2-7, but we're living off of that. We're like making predictions off of that. But when me, the Pittsburgh Steelers fan, is like, hey, we haven't had a losing season ever. Like, I think giving us 6 or 7 wins is a little bit much. It's a little bit far-fetched, but okay. Like, and everybody gets it off. The whole ESPN, the Foxes, the CBSs, all of these media outlets, they were like, yeah, the Steelers, they're going to be horrible. They have 2 quarterbacks. That means they have none. Mike Tomlin is overrated. They got all of that shit off in the offseason. But then when it came to the Cleveland Browns, it was like, oh, they have a two-time coach of the year, Kevin Stefanski. Can we name that? They let go of Joe Flacco, who, by the way, Joe Flacco did not have a good showing yesterday against the Minnesota Vikings. I didn't watch the game, but I do know I have Jonathan Taylor on my fantasy team, and he had 4 or 5 points. So like just an absolute horseshit show out of the Colts. But that's neither here nor there. And they beat us for no reason. They're a horrible team, but we lost to them. Just absolutely very frustrating right there, right? But the Browns, they got rid of Flacco. They're just horrible, man. They're just a 2-7 team. And I'm glad. I really am glad that they are 2-7. They're 1-4 at home. They're 1-3 on the road. They can't defend. They can't do good at home or on the road. They got nothing going for them. They're 1-1 in their division. I believe they beat the Bengals. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it was the Ravens. Maybe they fucked. Oh, I think it was the Ravens that they beat. And so like there is that. And anyway, though, the main point of it all is the Ohio teams are ass. And the AFC North runs through either Pittsburgh or Baltimore. And for the most part, it runs through Pittsburgh. And as of this moment right now, it runs through Pittsburgh. And of course, we were on a bye, so the 6-2 versus 6-3, it's a little bit, it's a little bit swayed. It's a little bit skewed. But we are going to get Baltimore later in the season. We are on a 3-win streak. I'm noticing that in the little right-hand corner. We are on a 3-win streak. Russell Wilson is killing. He's doing his thing. And I'm excited to finally play Baltimore. I'm also excited to maybe see Deontay Johnson in a Baltimore uniform. Not to see it in a Baltimore uniform, but we're going to face him. He's a former Pittsburgh Steeler. I like Deontay Johnson. Hopefully things go a little bit better here in Baltimore than it was going in Carolina. Although Carolina, they fucked around and got a win yesterday. But is Deontay Johnson the problem? We need to start some narratives. That's neither here nor there. But yeah, the Browns and Bengals, you guys are horrible, but especially, exclamation point, especially the Cleveland Browns. You guys are awful, and you should sell the team to London. You should sell the team to Germany or some shit, because you guys, Cleveland is done. Maybe get a new team, the Cleveland Rivers or some shit like that. Like get a whole new team, get a whole new logo, do something, change your colors, because there's already an orange team in the AFC North, but now you have to have 2 orange teams, and they're both ass. Like that's crazy. Like we have 2 orange teams in this division, and they both suck. So like there's that. And yeah, the Steelers, we run this shit. Baltimore, they're up there. Like I said, we will play them later on in the season. I believe that who did they just beat? They just killed somebody yesterday too. I think it was like Denver or some shit. They just killed the Broncos. And so, it is what it is. We'll have to see how we look against Baltimore. Maybe I'll be a bit humbled. If we look at this playoff picture now, because I'm just pulling it up, I just noticed that live on the fly. We'll play this is just like the standings. Is there like a bracket or whatever? So since we're the 3rd seed, I believe that means we would play the 4th seed or the 5th seed. So, okay, so it would go 2 plays 6, 3 plays 5. Okay, so no, 2 plays 7. And then 3 plays 6. So we would play the Chargers in the first round of the playoffs. I like that matchup. Low-key, I like the Ravens matchup too, because, they haven't beaten us in a little bit. But if we played the Chargers, I would actually be kind of excited about that. Or the Broncos, honestly. If the Broncos keep winning and we can play them in the first round, let's do that. Let's run that back, Denver, because I like our chances against you. I like our chances against the Texans. Low-key, I'm getting excited as I'm saying this because I like our chances against every single one of these teams. Even the Bills. I don't know when we would have to face them, but even the Bills, I think, we have a really good chance against them. And the Chiefs, we'll have to see about that. I can just say, yeah, I think we can beat the Chiefs, but, they're 7-0. They're back-to-back Super Bowl champions. It would be probably a bit far-fetched for me to just be predicting the win. But I'm still going to predict the win, man. We are going to beat any one of these teams. We're going to run the table, and we're going to go back to the Super Bowl. We're at least going back to the Super Bowl. Are we going to win it? I don't know, but I would love to go back to the Super Bowl as a Steelers fan. But anyway, we'll have to see how that looks. I wanted to kind of just highlight this, and also now that we got the beginning out of the way, now that we talked about the Browns for a little bit, tomorrow, man, it is a very important day, man. Tomorrow, it's gonna take all of us. We got to go out there. We got to do our thing. We got to make our voices heard, because tomorrow is the NFL trade deadline, man. And there is one name on my mind that I want. And how many times have we talked about a wide receiver? A bunch. I get it, but the last remaining soldier, the last remaining wide receiver that I personally am willing to come on here and be like, yeah, we should go get him, is DK Metcalf, man. And I'm not going to lie, this is definitely not my first option. I wanted Brandon Ayuk. I wanted Devontae Adams. I wanted other receivers too, but we're just in the position of they already went, and it's time to kind of scramble. If we are going to trade for a wide receiver, I don't mind getting DK Metcalf, and you can see him in this jersey swap. This actually looks kind of sick. I don't mind getting DK Metcalf. Now, like I said, I wanted Brandon Ayuk and Devontae a little bit more. I believe that they are, farther ahead route running wise than DK Metcalf is. But we know DK Metcalf has a bit of a good relationship with Russell Wilson. They played together in Seattle before. He's a beast. If you guys don't remember when somebody threw an interception and DK Metcalf just absolutely hawked him down. He's an athletic freak. And he's somebody who, if we are trying to make a run this year, if we were trying to go for it this year, I would not be mad at trading for DK Metcalf. There's also been names such as Darius Slayton, who went out with injury. There's been names like, who else? Christian Kirk, who we'll talk about in a second. We were very close to getting him. There's been, what's his name? Chris Olave, even maybe, possibly, potentially, we were going to get him, but then he goes out with injury. There's just been so many different kind of situations to where we were going to get a wide receiver, and then all of a sudden it was taken from us, right? There were so many situations where it was all right, this is the trade. We're going to do it. Adam Schefter is like, hey, the Steelers are moments, seconds, minutes away from making this trade happen. Then all of a sudden they break their toe or something. They get a really bad cold and they can't pass the physical and that trade falls through. Or we cannot trade our 6th round pick because who might we draft in the 6th round? Ladies and gentlemen, we might draft Tom Brady or some shit. Like, why would we trade for an established, already good wide receiver right now when we could use our 6th round pick fucking 226 to maybe possibly potentially get the good wide receiver there instead of just trading for it? You know, it's just a bit silly. It's a bit much, but I understand Steelers fans were very conservative. I understand we don't want to give up the assets. However, for a player like DK Metcalf, I believe you give up the assets for the Devontaes, for the Brandon Ayuks, and Brandon Ayuk not having the best time, so maybe I hold that to myself. But for these good wide receivers, you're going to have to come up off some draft capital, and I believe we need to stop being scared about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, we need to stop acting like we don't, like we don't need these trades, like we don't want to do these things, because I believe we can compete this year with the team that we have for sure. Calvin Austin was doing his thing. He had a big emergence game in our last one. But if we really want to make a run, and everybody is saying we need a wide receiver, including the team themselves, because that's another thing too. I want to get it out here because I understand it's annoying when I'm sitting up here we need to make a trade for a wide receiver every single video, and I try not to do it every video, but you know what I mean? It's definitely been a constant this season. I'm not just making this shit up out of my ass. I'm not just like, hey, only me thinks we need a wide receiver. The Pittsburgh Steelers have literally been nonstop calling teams since July about a wide receiver. Like, hey, is he available? Is he available? What can we do? Like, the team themselves, Omar Khan himself has been on the phone for these teams. We clearly want a wide receiver as well. Like, it's not just me. It's not just like other Steelers fans. It's not just like the media or whatever. The Steelers themselves have been trying to get a wide receiver. And honestly, it sucks seeing this team flop like this. Like, it sucks watching my favorite team want a wide receiver, want this position of need, and every single time they get close to it, we just can't get the deal done. It's annoying, because I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I want us to compete. I want us to be the best. And how are we going to be the best? And that's getting this wide receiver. That's getting the moves that we want. We want these moves to be done. Like, whether it's actually going to help us or not, whether it's going to propel us to a Super Bowl or not, we, the Steelers, have wanted to trade for a wide receiver. And so me, the Steelers fan, is hoping the Steelers get their wish. You know what I'm saying? I'm hoping that we can follow through with it. Otherwise, it's just been a year spent for no reason. And there's other positions of need too. If we're not going to get a wide receiver, maybe we can get another corner. Maybe we can get some help in the run defense department. Maybe we can get an offensive lineman somewhere, any position on the offensive line. No offense, not too much on our offensive line. But there's just been a lot of things happening. Broderick Jones is Broderick Jones. We've been kind of losing people in the middle, with Samalu kind of getting hurt. Mason McCormick's been playing a lot. Zach Frazier, he's been out. So maybe we can get some help there. It doesn't only have to be wide receiver, but for sure the Steelers have been trying to get a wide receiver themselves. And so I just want us to accomplish our goals. I just want us to do our thing. Like, if I had I have cats, right? I have 2 cats, right? And sometimes they be doing shit that they just are not allowed to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're just trying to knock shit over. They're trying to do this. They're trying to do that. But there are some points where it's like they're locked into something. Like, they see a hair or something on the wall, or something's hanging off that's really getting their attention. And maybe it's just a little bit too high for them to get it, but they're locked in. They're trying. These cats will try for hours to knock some shit down, right? After hour 3 or 4, I'm just like, all right, man, I hope it works out for you, kitty, because this is crazy, So I'm seeing the Steelers, they've really wanted a wide receiver. I hope it works out for them. I hope we do get a wide receiver if we want it this bad, And I want DK Metcalf that bad. I'm willing to change my profile picture to this if that's what it takes. But low key, because if it does happen, I don't want to be the DK Metcalf guy. I only really want this because 1, DK Metcalf I think is a pretty good player, but 2, as I've mentioned, I just want us to get this wide receiver trade because we've been trying to get this wide receiver trade. This is more for the brand. This is more for Omar Khan. We were talking very highly about the guy. We were big up in him this whole offseason process, this whole last 2 seasons. We're talking about Omar Khan is the man. This would hurt if we don't get him. This would hurt because clearly we've been trying. Not DK Metcalf specifically, but anybody. Low-key, anybody. Get Martavis Bryant back just so that way it's yeah, we did it. We got a wide receiver. You know what I'm saying? If it's not going to be DK Metcalf. Anyways, I think that is going to do it for this little topic right here. Next up, and this is what we're talking about with Christian Kirk. The Steelers were in the process of finalizing a trade for Jaguars wide receiver Christian Kirk before a season-ending collarbone injury. Pittsburgh remains aggressive in their pursuit of adding another wide receiver ahead of Tuesday's deadline. This is a nice little Photoshop right here. Shout out to Christian Kirk. He's someone he's all right. I would have been happy with getting Christian Kirk. I don't believe like he is the craziest, like, and I don't think it would also cost us a lot to get him. But then the unfortunate, like he gets hurt when we're trying to finalize a trade. It's just, it sucks. And so, we will see if we do end up getting a wide receiver. The last thing I kind of wanted to talk about here, maybe you guys saw it, maybe you didn't. But Adam Schefter says the Steelers are unlikely to retain both Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. Could pay above $30 million for either. I don't know if we do this right now, but if we had to keep one, who would we keep? I don't know. I don't know, man, because in one hand, Justin Fields is like a lot of potential. There's a lot there. But on the other hand, Russell Wilson has been hooping. But Justin is younger. I'm not going to answer this. I'm not going to answer this question, but maybe I do have an answer. If we can only keep one, who would we keep? Russell Wilson is hooping right now where we're putting up 35 points a game with him. Justin Fields could potentially be something, but also too, like maybe we could draft Justin Fields again. You know what I'm saying? Maybe Anthony Richardson is out there. Is Justin Fields better than Anthony Richardson? I would say for sure 100% right. But if we're talking about projects or whatever, like that's what Justin Fields was billed as. Maybe a guy like Anthony Richardson is another project we can kind of, go in on or whatever. We keep Russell Wilson. We'll have to see. But at the same time, too, I also really do believe in Justin Fields. I think he's really good. And it just, I saw like maybe we'll only be able to keep one, but that's kind of a given because I think Justin Fields is going to get a bag. And Russell Wilson might fuck around and get a bag too, if not from us. And so we will have to see how that goes. Maybe that's why we're not trading for a wide receiver because we're going to pay both of our quarterbacks these $30 million mark. I don't know. But we'll have to see how that goes. Anyways, I think that is going to do it for this video as a whole. I just kind of wanted to get on here. I kind of wanted to shit on the Browns because we got to keep scrolling to see them. We got to scroll all the way down to Timbuktu to see the Cleveland Browns. They got a 1% chance at the playoffs. That's hilarious. Where are the Bengals at? The Bengals are at 35%. They would have to really get going. And the Steelers, we're at 85%, man. And what are the Ravens at? How are the Ravens at 93 and we're at 85? That's neither. Okay, I guess because they've played one extra game. Whatever, man. Just absolute hate. Next week, we got the Washington Commanders. It is going to be a banger game. It is going to be a huge game. We have a lot to talk about up until then. And so I will see you guys in a future video while we talk about or we preview this game. Anyways, they're 7-2, man. That's crazy. Anyways, this has been Zaya from Zaya and the Steelers. And I will see you in the next video. Peace out.